Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe, and today we got some Ordinal Takeover action.
Again. It's been a while, though.
But let's start with Bitcoin, dude.
Yeah, we have to. We have to address what's happening in the current day moment. It's been quite the ride, dude.
Yeah, so what do you know? $67,300 for Bitcoin.
What do you mean? What I knew. What do you know?
I mean,
I called this, didn't I?
I mean, you said it would reach all-time highs before the halving.
Pre-halvening, which is never done before, so.
And it's still not there yet.
I think it's pretty close.
I mean, the number here, all-time high.
Oh, shit, you're right.
69,000, dude. November 10th.
Okay.
2021.
So we're not there yet, but.
That was just 2 years ago? It feels like a lifetime ago.
It says over 2 years.
Over 2 years, yeah.
2021, that's about.
Yeah.
That was a minute ago.
Why does it
sure.
say over 2 years?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Whatever. It's CoinGecko, dude. Let them do their thing. But the point here is Bitcoin's doing some unprecedented activities.
Yeah. Yeah. We've never seen an all-time high right before the halving.
Yeah.
We would always hope for one just because you would think it would happen just because it's like right before the halving. It's like you better own it before it.
Yeah. Buy the rumor, sell the news, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what? I mean, halving is like, we know what this is at this point. Is that really like, is that going to, as the subsidy like decreases at every moment, at every halvening, that's going to become less and less of like a FOMO
It is
component.
Mathematically, right? Yes, you're right.
Well, I mean, like culturally, I guess. I don't know. Mathematically, it is like the driver of like
yeah, but
price activity.
If you keep halving, eventually the later halves are like significantly smaller, where the impact is negligible.
Right. Exactly. So that's what I don't think that's like what's driving this, obviously, because I mean the halving has always been like a 4-year occurrence for Bitcoin, and it's never breached like previous all-time highs before that. And there've been catastrophic bear markets and stuff, just like we just kind of went through.
Yeah. Yeah. The only difference now is ETFs, right? Bitcoin ETFs.
ETFs also like a robust ecosystem emerging from within Bitcoin. But yeah, I don't think that's like what's actually pulling this kind of liquidity into Bitcoin itself.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think the world is like really truly aware of what's happening yet.
Didn't you say that BlackRock owns like 1% of Bitcoin already?
Well, yeah, but I don't think they're looking at Bitcoin and like, dude, you see Ordinals, guys? It's like we really need to get in there.
No.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think Ordinals.
No, absolutely not. Ordinals is still a niche thing that nobody's even heard of.
Or like the L2 stuff happening on Bitcoin. None of that is like actually what's like
correct
attracting this new capital base into Bitcoin.
Agreed.
Yeah, this is like
this is base level Bitcoin stuff.
Yeah, basically what the last 10 years has been about for Bitcoin. Yeah. Right? It's starting to finally proliferate, right? It's becoming an institutional grade asset. So it's part of the conversation. Like the whole digital gold narrative is actually sticking. Yeah. Right? And it's working.
Little do they know Ordinals.
Yeah.
Ordinals is really going to.
So yeah, that's what we're interested in, right? It's like fine. Like let's let like what the maxis have kind of done. Yeah. Over the last 10 years, like serve to our whole ecosystem benefit, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
All this liquidity is rushing in, but underneath it all is like this whole ecosystem that to play within. Right?
Yeah. All right.
So that's what we're focused on. That's what brought us to Bitcoin in the first place. Yeah. At least me personally.
So let's see how Bitcoin is comparing to Ethereum. And in the last 7 days, it's neck and neck.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been like ridiculous purchases on both fronts. Like, Ethereum with its legacy CryptoPunks. Look at that guy.
Yeah, $16 million for this guy.
Now that's insane. That's insanity. That is so much money.
Yeah. Imagine having $16 million to sling around on a JPEG, dude.
On one single JPEG. Yeah, I mean, that's quite the bet or whatever that is.
Yeah, what are you doing? You're doing it just to flex. You don't think you're going to flip this thing, right?
Yeah, and if you have that kind of capital to spend on that, like the idea of flipping it would probably add like no value to you.
No, that's true.
I'm sure you're sitting on like hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Like, dude, what's like if this thing 2x's in a year, it's like, oh yeah, $16 million score. Yeah. That's like a drop in the bucket, right? So yeah, I think this is more of like a flex move or whatever. Yeah. So Ethereum's not dead in any way. But there is a lot of movement and activity, like kind of like heading in Bitcoin's direction, right?
Yeah. So a lot of the activity, Node Monks, 17 Bitcoin, $1 million for this Node Monk. Now, is it Node Monkeys or Node Monks? I mean, we've had this debate before already.
They're monkeys, dude, I think. monkeys, whatever you want to call them. They're definitely spelled weird, but I mean, it's a vibe, dude. It's a culture. Get with it, right? And but people are definitely getting with it. Oh yeah, here it is. There's that.
Yeah, here's the alien punk, right? 4,500 ETH, $16 million.
Yeah, something about this alien trait, dude. It fucking sticks. You know?
Well, I think alien is I don't know. It's like a rare trait. Like the trend was an alien was a rare trait, so it just got adopted.
Just keeps going.
Yeah,
yeah. It just follows along like the ethos of profile picture projects.
All right. So 6 node monks.
All aliens.
Yeah, $3.5 million together for 6 of these guys.
Yeah, I mean this is insane, dude. Like these are numbers we've never really seen yet.
Not in Ordinals, no.
Yeah, this is like fucking peak bull market Ethereum type shit. You saw this like daily, remember?
Yeah.
So the conversations are starting, dude. We just had ETH Denver. We didn't go.
They said it was called Ord Denver.
Well, they had like a whole Ord Denver like frat experience, I guess. So, they somebody like hosted a party and like everyone got together, wore orange T-shirts and stuff, and it was an Ord event.
It was a clan war.
Whatever. It fucking worked though, because like you could see it like in the charts, dude. Like whatever was happening out there, the discussions and such. There's been some something like awareness. Like I think that a lot of that networking convinced a lot of people to pay attention.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
All right. So what is the floor price for one of these guys? It looks like it's 0.81 on Magic Eden.
Yeah. Again. Pretty freaking huge. I mean, nothing close to what we saw, like peak bull market on.
Yeah.
These are regarded as like the next crypto punks, right? So
yeah.
I mean, I guess you would expect these at some point to hit 6-figure floor valuations.
Right. It's pretty close.
It is. It's creeping up there, dude.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Thread guy coming in says, I don't really care about rare sats or common sats or any of that crap. It's like I simply care that Bitcoin has the most money, so Bitcoin NFTs go up the most.
What do you think about that take?
I mean, I feel like this is a pretty common interpretation of NFTs on Bitcoin. I mean, that's really what brought us here initially. Is like, dude, NFTs on Bitcoin is like, send it. It's like we're gonna know that that's where the action is gonna be at.
Yeah, it's like anything on Bitcoin was just interesting on its own merit, right? Because, I mean, yeah, like we came into this space. Ethereum brought us in because like a lot of interesting things was happening on Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
For looking back on Bitcoin, it was interesting in its own right, but it's from like a developer's perspective, there wasn't much to like contribute there.
Yeah, correct. There was nothing to talk about, nothing really to do on Bitcoin.
Yeah, nothing really emerging. So yeah, the fact that we found out like early last year that an ecosystem had the potential to emerge. It wasn't like official whenever we actually like got in.
Mm-hmm.
There was potential there. A lot of infrastructure remained and stuff, but it started to pop up, and then there was enough indicators from the market. It's like, dude, this is something you need to pay attention to, right?
Yeah.
Here we are a year later. I mean, you got these ginormous like sales happening in real time.
Yeah.
I mean, just liquidity volume. It kind of like says everything you need to know, right? So here you go. You got these legacy NFT guys.
Yeah.
Noticing, right?
Yeah. And he's been commenting on the NatCat stuff too.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
So
NatCat stuff.
Yeah, Leonidas Runestone just mined the largest Bitcoin block in history and inscribed the largest inscription ever again, introducing the 3.97 megabyte Runestone. This is a pretty high resolution asset, dude. I was impressed.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It definitely looks like something you would see like it's some sort of like fantasy game that's like Unreal Engine,
Yeah.
Looks cool. Looks like a true 3D high fidelity great asset. But the crazy part here is that is what occupied the entire space of a block, basically.
Yeah, it looks like it.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So this is actually a representation of like stretching the block limitations of Bitcoin to its furthest dimension. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, the last time this happened was with Udi's Wizard, right?
Yeah, Taproot Wizard.
Yeah.
Which clearly was not like a display of fidelity, but it was a display of something else.
Yeah, definitely not.
Just pure size, right? But this is it, dude. The Runestone thing, I mean...
yeah, it's happening.
It's attracting a lot of attention. I don't think the airdrop has occurred yet, but they're definitely priming everybody for like the excitement of what's about to come.
Yeah, I don't know what the details are of this airdrop, but I'm assuming they're going to be using delegates, and so basically the airdrop is a text inscription that points to this thing,
which is what determines like the rendering of the asset, right?
So it's like /content /inscription ID for this thing.
Yeah, because that's the most efficient way to do it.
Yeah,
from your perspective.
Yeah, it's just a text inscription, very cheap.
So that's native to the Ord client, right?
Yep.
So that's why it's probably going to be done that way. So, yeah, this is a big deal, I guess. Large airdrop, over 100,000 participants, and it's supposed to be like geared towards the participants of the last year. So we'll see how that actually performs whenever runes actually hit. It's going to be interesting, you know.
All right, so Beto over here talking about CBRC 20s.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that in a while.
Yeah, it's been a little while, but we're going to be interviewing MotoSwap guys in the next couple of days.
Yeah. And hopefully it nothing interrupts that. Cause,
there's been a lot of interruptions.
Yeah, it happens, dude. I mean, it's hectic out there. But these guys, we saw their video of them at ETH Denver, and I thought it was very, very cool.
It was cool, yeah.
Just to see, like, we've had Danny Plainview on our podcast before. He was explaining what was it, Boss, which was like Oshi's like operating system to create like, a much more functional operations layer on top of Bitcoin. So I think a lot of that like innovation is kind of like traversed into the CBRC 20 space. So I guess MotoSwap is like a representative of that. Remember like Oshi was supposed to build like the first like layer 1 DEX and stuff. So I think this is actually like what's happening. It's kind of just moved into this ecosystem. Yeah. So I really am interested to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, and so this is what their product is. MotoSwap is just the Uniswap V2, but on Bitcoin layer 1. No side chains, no bridges, no L2s, no custody, no permission needed to liquidity provide trade any CBRC 20 tokens. Our fee structure is also pretty neat. 1% fee on all swaps, 0.6% on liquidity providers.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Urs. Liquidity providers. Yeah.
And 0.4% for stakers when mainnet. Yeah. So, okay. I saw that video, and it was like almost like 2 hour long talk, right?
As these conferences are sometimes. Yeah, I mean, conferences are crazy, dude. Like, we went last year to this ETH Denver thing.
Yeah. Got super sick.
We got sick. Literally, like,
here it is.
Yeah, we all got COVID. I'm pretty sure all these guys coming back home are just now like
getting sick,
just realizing they
the plague.
Partook in like a super spreader event. I'm sure they're like, "Fuck!" It's like, why am I dying? Yeah, but actually, from what we're hearing, it was like quite the show. It was like a good thing, I think, for the Ordinal space. Is a lot of people actually got to meet each other for the first time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so here's a video. All right, so some NatCat action. The floor is 0.11, 339 total volume. It's only been like 4 days or so.
Yeah, I mean, we made a DMT update video last week, pre-Magic Eden like listing.
Yeah, the Magic Eden drop happened like Wednesday or Thursday.
I'm not too sure, but I think this volume also like is incorporating, what all the OTC spreadsheet action.
Oh, okay.
I don't think this is all like native Magic Eden, but I think like half of it actually is.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
that makes sense.
Daily there's like 50 Bitcoin volume or something like that. So yeah, I mean, I guess switching over to DMT, which is also native to Ordinals. This was kind of like what everybody was waiting for. Like, let's see how this asset performs within the market of the rest of the Ordinal, And so far,
we're
so good.
Looking at like $8,000 floor price right now.
Yeah, it's hovering between 8,000 and 9,000. If you remember, this was like a free mint, and it was open to anybody. Mm-hmm. It took about like a week. Like, this was like under the radar for.
Yeah, this dropped on Discord, on our Discord, on mScribe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And it was like your standard NAT deployment, meaning like it began as like a fungible token, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Because this was pre like UNAT, unique non-arbitrary token, like standard upgrade, right, to the DMT framework. So the NatCat founder had to reinscribe, with the correct ID field incorporated into that deployment description, and hence you have like a referenceable on-chain script to generate the display of these assets, right?
Yeah, correct. So if this is the first time you're hearing about DMT, digital matter theory, head over to our Twitter account. The pinned tweet talks about the launch of digital matter theory.
Yeah.
And
back in November, I think.
Yeah, November 20th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we go into detail, right? How to mint these things, and we talk about hybrid tokens, which is what a UNAT is. And
yeah, with that we dropped the NAT token, which was the very first non-arbitrary asset ever, I guess, generated from this framework.
Correct.
Back in November, right? And a lot has happened in that front, but yeah, this whole UNAT thing is like the whole new
this is a whole
Cambrian explosion moment, right?
Yeah, there's tons of people creating their own art, and it's and the way that this works. So if you see here, off-chain image shown. So this is just how Magic Eden works, right? It's easier for them just to download all these images, put them in IPFS, and just display them. But what you're getting is a JSON structure that, when viewed properly, will render your NatCat on chain, right? Just like you see this, where is it? This thing, this is all rendered on chain, right? So the same thing you would see with NatCats, it's all on chain. But on Magic Eden, this is just off chain assets, and it's fine, right? Because that's how they do their business.
Well, there's a reason why they're doing it this way, right? Just because it's
because they rely on their creators to upload the valid inscription IDs.
Right. From my understanding, the reason it's this way is because, there's not enough market evidence to suggest it's like, they need to have long-standing technical support for all other future UNATs as of yet, right? Like right now, this might just be like a single flash in the pan collection with the NatCats, but, let's wait and see. Maybe, this becomes an actual long-standing like meta that needs like technical support. And then at that point, there's no point in storing these off-chain anyway, right?
Yeah, potentially. Because I could see them still maintaining this entire legacy structure in the long term, just because they're busy trying to take over Ethereum. Yeah, right. If you go to their homepage, right, it looks like Ethereum takeover.
Well, they actually do have like an Ethereum takeover page now.
Yeah. Well, I can't pull it up now, but
there you go. There it is.
Well, they had like a splash screen.
They did.
It's
like, here we are, Ethereum, OpenSea, your days are numbered, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, because now they have Yuga Labs, basically in their back pocket. So, yeah, Magic Eden itself is very interesting. Like what they've become, Yeah. Their bet on Bitcoin Ordinals was definitely a good one, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And it's kind of leading them into like market positioning that I didn't think was possible. I thought OpenSea would always be like the dominant force.
Yeah, OpenSea hasn't really done much.
Yeah, I guess complacency occurs after like tremendous success. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on.
All right, so NatCats isn't the only successful thing happening on UNATs. We have alternative UNATs, DMT NatPunks. We have confused NatDogs, NatPals, and DMT Chaos.
Yeah.
Are feeling the love. So these are other action happening in the UNAT ecosystem.
Yeah.
With DMT. So yeah. Okay, so we have that. We have another tweet here. DMT Shrooms.
Yeah.
This isn't our first rodeo, so we'll let the Easy Bake Oven projects come and go, and then that's the asset.
Yeah, that's something that needs to be addressed too. There are a lot. We've seen more than 100 deployments in
the last week, yeah.
In the last week, basically since the framework was updated to DMT.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like maybe like a handful actually have like delivered art up until this point. We know personally that like maybe like 2 handfuls are approaching the actual point where they're redeploying their non-arbitrary token.
Yeah, the thing is that this art isn't as simple as like a drawing on a Procreate on your iPad.
Yeah.
Right? This is actual scripts that you need to come up with.
Yeah.
And the reason is because the script is requesting is like, give me a block number and I'll render you, art. And so you need to know how to do that. And so on our Gitbook, you could see the existing templates for scripts that we have. We have the DMT NAT, we have the DMT NatCats.
Yeah.
You can take that, remix it, use it for your own art, or you can come up with your own script.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's some technical knowledge required to do DMT art.
Yeah, and that's important too, right? To uphold. Because that's what's going to give this like that longevity, meaning like these collections actually truly outlive their founders.
Yeah, and in addition, so because of this kind of like technical kind of barrier, you're going to see a lot of DMT deployments that don't produce any art just because of that technical barrier.
Yeah.
And so just be careful and just do your own research and don't mint everything that you see because you're just wasting money.
Totally agree. Yeah, these early days, you know, I mean, we warned of this. Anytime you put out any kind of like protocol infrastructure layer, you know, it's like anything we've seen in the past. Like 90% of it is probably going to be people just rushing to deploy anything to capitalize on like the market momentum around that. 10% are actually genuinely trying to contribute something of substance, right?
Yeah.
And we're actually seeing it. And so that's like an actual indication that this is a real utilized framework protocol, just like any other, like BRC20.
Yeah.
How many of those tokens have actually manifested into anything of actual substance? I mean, I'd argue just a couple, a few,
like literally a handful at best.
Right. But that's regarded as if like that is the fungible token standard of Bitcoin.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know about that, but nonetheless, BDYOR. No matter what, don't listen to anything we say, anybody else says.
Yeah.
You've got to do your own personal due diligence on this stuff.
And there's been some bad deployments.
That too.
There's been some people minting bad deployments.
Yeah, but they had like genuine intent to, again, create something of substance. But because it's technical and new, people are going to make mistakes, have misunderstandings.
Yeah, but
do things incorrectly.
That's why you have to do your own research. Just don't blind mint.
Yeah, like take your time, everybody.
Yeah.
Like I get it. There's like a rush to be like early and stuff to capitalize on that ethos is like truly one of the OG collections and such.
Yeah.
But still, take your time. Make sure you have a real understanding of all this stuff. And if there's any confusion, definitely hit us up.
Yeah. So kind of continuing on with the art here, we have King Art for the People. We got some updates for their DMT drop.
Yeah. So this is like the first actual art drop. So this is going to be like a paid collection, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen that yet in the DMT space. Everything's been open and free.
Yeah.
But as a result, it's kind of like resulting in like a higher concentration pool of ownership. So some deployers out there want a new mechanism to like have more control over the distribution, right?
Yeah. And he has a couple of like art drops that he's done in the past that he wants to distribute some of this to those holders. And so that's another mechanism of distribution that he wants to leverage.
Yeah, so we're actively working to support this too, right? Because we know, not everything has to be free and open mints because, you know, as a creator, you want to, like, look what Node Monkeys did. They created like a whole different distribution mechanism of their own.
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
They had failure to launch like 3 or 4 times.
No, that's the Quantum Cats. Remember?
Oh, that's what
Node Monkeys. They did that like reverse auction, right? Where they started with like the most expensive ones. But
they also had failure to launch a couple of times too.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that happens.
Yeah,
it happens always usually. But the point is, distribution mechanisms they vary.
Yeah, and it's important. It's important because you want to design your launch in a specific way, right? You should be able to do that.
Yeah, and if you go to again the DMT Git book, there's 3 different methods of distributing non-arbitrary tokens. So
there's fair distribution, there's block drops, and then there's like a called token authorization or token contracts, and then
basically
you can create your own logic to distribute however you want.
Yeah, so expect more collections, and remember, this isn't just for art exclusively. This is a content standard. So at some point, I'm expecting to see whole new things, maybe like music collections that are I don't know, rooted somehow.
Yeah.
AI music or something that's like block data dependent.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that is like the grand experiment here, so we'll see how far this goes.
Cool. All right, that's it for us. If we miss anything, let us know in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.